Does it have $1 million vibe? Or?
With enough thrust, you can fly a brick.
Location, 1980 Gallery.
In studio, podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to Location 1980's Art Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Fortune, with my co-host, Eric Ringman.
Good evening, everybody.
Would you be so kind
guest,
to introduce?
Mr. Dan Felchner.
Nice.
All right.
Killed it.
Pleasure to see you guys.
He's a good friend of ours at the gallery. Been around for a while, an artist himself, and we're glad to have you on the pod tonight, man.
We're talking about art tonight?
Largely.
Start over.
But we may not.
Yeah. Art and art-like subjects.
Got it. All right.
Which goes wide and far. But we can start with telling the people a little bit about you. We've tried to reach now outside of the Location 1980 artists that we know, or that have had a studio here, and now so you're brushing up against that next layer of, you've always been a friend and a homie, but you never had a studio here, right?
Right, right.
So then now, but that being said, we're still down and to share your art story, and we're peeling back the layers of the art scene one by one. So, like, could you tell us, like, your formal art training? And then Eric wants to ask you about the most recent project.
Sure.
But we'll get to that, yeah.
Yeah, but just tell us a little bit about, how you got into art or whatever.
Let's see. I guess I started drawing when I was, like, basically as soon as I started, like, forming memories, about 3 years old. Funnily enough, it was nothing like what I make now. It's I had a heavy military family history, and me and my dad were also like heavy into like war movies when I was young. So the vast majority of these drawings that I would make on just printer paper were
Rolled paper,
concerningly gory war scenes,
Big battle scenes and stuff.
Yeah, but with like stick figures.
Totally.
Yeah. And
I know the genre.
Yeah, I feel like if a therapist got a hold of those, like now, there would be some concern. But luckily, I had a...
I definitely got ones from the, like, 6 years old-ish genre that I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that nobody knows those other than me.
Yeah. Also, fortunately, my mom has all these saved in a binder somewhere in the attic. So I'll whip those out at some point.
It could be the key to the future. So, you gotta...
I hope not.
You gotta revisit it to, like, spark a strong memory.
Yeah, clues in something.
To break from the past. Yeah. You're like, finally, I can let go. So, and then, what about when you jumped up to, like... Well, before we do the full story, Eric wanted to ask about your most recent project, because I know you did something pretty dope recently.
Yeah. I did a mural at Descanso restaurant up in LA.
Which restaurant?
Descanso.
Give them a shout out. You know them?
Shout out Descanso.
Where are they at?
Their first location is actually just up the street on Adams in Costa Mesa. Their second location just opened in November. It's on Wilshire on Miracle Mile up in LA.
Yeah, it's like near Fairfax, right?
Yeah, it's literally right next to the La Brea Tar Pits. Where you throw a baseball at it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Is that Italian or what's the cuisine?
Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I just did a three mural project there.
All in the same restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's a restaurant bar or just a restaurant.
It's
Is it
massive.
Fancy? Oh, okay. I remember you showed me like when you're very first starting, kind of like blocking out. And then, like, you mentioned maybe scaffolding.
You're on a scissor lift and stuff, right?
Yeah, it was my first time getting on a scissor lift there.
Yeah, let's go. Shout out to scissor lift.
That was tight. Yeah, so that was rad. I was there for like 6 months, every weekend for 6 months.
So the scope of the project, you had to come away from your side hustle, double down, drive up there.
Yeah.
And then is it one of the ones where, like, they're working on other stuff, too? And you're like, dude, but I'm doing art. So. It
kind of had to happen simultaneously. They gutted this building. It used to be, Marie Callender's. Mm-hmm. This was the OG location for Callender's restaurant.
Oh, shit.
Before Marie got involved.
Fucking Marie.
Yeah.
An institution, wow.
And, it closed down, I don't know how many years ago, but it's been open for a while. And, yeah, they found this location and decided to gut it. You know, still has the beautiful original brick archways and a lot of the old like tile polished floor from I think like the 50s or 60s.
Nice.
And
how'd you score the project? How are you familiar with these people?
so my brother-in-law, he's the owner. So he opened up this first one late 2018, which is where I did my first like large scale solo mural.
And what was that? Was it like what was the theme? And are they similar, or did you just step into a new direction?
Very different.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what was the old one like?
The old one is way more abstract. It's a kind of like segmented landscape. Very nondescript. You can tell like it's a landscape just by the colors, but it's all sectioned off. And within each section, I just did these really nice like gradients with large brushes, and yeah, it came out cool. It's definitely more.
We're talking
simple.
what kind of scale on the first one?
The first one is 30 by 9
Okay, feet.
Yeah.
Decorative restaurant art
Yeah.
on the wall, not
Yeah.
on canvas.
Yeah. It's on the wall behind the plancha grills. So if you imagine like the what are they? The hibachi grills that like Benihana. That's
All right.
It's like a Mexican Benihana setup,
yeah. It's their version of the flat top grill.
which is dope. I haven't seen that anywhere else, frankly.
Yeah, it's definitely like a huge focal point of the restaurant. So it's definitely like an honor to be able to do that.
You said it was your first one, so I've done like my first big mural before. It was usually when I did mine, it was we were in a group, kind of gave some confidence because we're all like totally faking it, so we make it. We talked this dude into it, and we're like, we don't know what we're doing at all because it was gigantic.
Yeah.
And it took us we had no scale of time or what do we need, but we're just like sell it first, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But after that, you get like this real solid stance on your confidence. How long does it take? How do I map it out?
Yeah.
Projector. What kind of paints to use? You know, by the time you get done, you probably called a bunch of artist friends like, "Yo, man, I'm about to go do this. Like, what am I getting into here?" Especially if you're inside, you can't use aerosol sometimes. Sometimes you can.
Yeah, for that first one, I actually
Lit it up.
I planned to do like all aerosol, but then I realized like they have these like brand new like stainless steel like grills and everything, and also it was so close to the wall that I'm like, this thing's gonna get blasted. Like I even hung the big plastic sheets, and then I'm like, I gotta go a different way.
Yeah, they're probably looking at you like, what's he gonna do in here?
And also the artwork itself, the design. That one, it took a little more give and take with my brother-in-law.
Sure.
Narrowing it down, and that's funny. I remember it was a much shorter timeline that I had to work on that one, and
Like what, a month?
it's been like 6.5 years, so I kind of forget, but it's probably something around there.
Okay. But you got it done, and they were proud. They were stoked.
Yeah, but it wasn't until like the last like few days, if not maybe a week, that it was both me and my brother-in-law standing next to each other looking at it, and we just like, even me before that, I was like, I don't know what's going on. I know he was feeling the same thing, and then we were just both standing there that one moment. I think we both just started simultaneously nodding our heads.
That's good. Right on.
So it obviously must have worked out well because he asked you to come back on a way mad bigger project.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so what was the difference in your approach this time? So it's like going to be their new flagship or their new location. Did you have a better handle on like what it's going to be, or you want to go in a different direction? You said. So how'd you come up with the concept?
So basically, they when he was ready for me, he had kind of let me know a few months in ahead, and had been working with a designer. So they had, just for the overall design,
vibe.
of the place, it was way more structured, and like they had like a grander idea, more succinct, and because he knows me, he knows my art, everything I've done since that first time.
He leaned into your strengths, or
he knew what I could do, and like how much he's seen me grow as an artist since then.
Nice.
So this time he basically came to me with just a page or two of printed like inspiration photos,
reference,
as well as like a decent little color palette that he wanted me to work within. And he's like, we just kind of want you to touch on these motifs, but beyond that, do your thing.
It's kind of the best of both worlds, because like sometimes what non-artists don't know, or if they've never commissioned an artist, and I'm speaking from my own, well, I guess I would say my own experience, but part of my experience is helping other artists and collaborating with other artists. But a lot of times when people go, oh, just do whatever, and like that's not a really good place for artists. Sometimes
they don't know just how far out whatever goes.
Also, it's like
it's a big arena.
I know my whatever, but like I don't know your whatever.
And they might say that, but they don't mean it a lot of times. A lot of times they actually mean something very specific.
And it might not be their fault. They don't know they don't mean it.
Yeah, so you have to kind of rope the client in and be like, I'm going to get you to be a little more specific here. So it sounds like you got like a little bit of best both worlds, where you had like a limited color palette and somewhat of a theme, but then like the green light to kind of flex.
Yeah, this one, I mean, like I said, just my, I know how much I've grown as an artist since then, and just my,
to me, it seems
level.
like you're still the same size.
Thank you.
You mean artistically?
No, keep me humble. This one was both way more exciting, and I went into it way more confidently.
And there's 3 walls, so it was like a multi-planular.
Yeah.
Did you do a lot of it? Like, did you have your digital tools, like use your iPad or SketchUp or scale stuff? Yeah.
So when it was before they even started any of the main construction, when it was like bare bones
blueprints,
he drove me up there one day and
nice.
Gave me a tour of the building. And I'm just like, whoa, this place is rad. And then he showed me the 3 walls. One of them is this wall kind of at the end of the main hallway that you come in from the main parking lot. And it's 2 stories tall, so my mural ended up being like 18 feet tall on that, and kind of started on the side of the open hallway and then blossomed out over it.
Sweet.
And then the second one, smaller wall, about head height, behind a few booths, adjacent wall, and did one there. And then the third one was kind of the same spot that I did the one at the original location, so behind the plancha grills. About 25 by 8 or so.
Nice, man. Good work, bro.
Yeah.
We like to geek out too sometimes with our audience, because we have tried to get a lot of different artists. So a muralist, we got a screenwriter coming up. We're trying to touch like a lot of different genres, but one thing that we're trying to pull out of the artists and creators is to geek out on the specifics, to share what it entails to take from that first trip you went with your brother-in-law to getting it on the, did you take a photo? Like, just walk us through the technical aspects of measuring everything and then scaling it down, and then whatever program you used, and then just walk us through that. Give us the touching points if you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feel free to get into the detail,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So that first tour, I think I was just, I had my iPhone with me and measuring tape. So he's showing me where it's all going to be. I don't even know if there was actual drywall on most of the walls. It was just bare metal studs. So I was just, he's like, this one, up here, over here. So I just took photos, made some measurements, did little edits on my iPhone, and then I had my iPad at home, so I used Procreate pretty much exclusively.
Did you build a little model? Is it 3D or is that a flat?
I just made like a digital collage kind of from using images that I found online as like placeholders in terms of his motif that he explained what he wanted.
To kind of like spec out a concept, like composition.
Scale
and just like,
where it's going to be.
Building a general structure, but also like inserting like very specific like imagery from the motifs that he was wanting. And he only had like very few notes on 1 or 2 of them. Otherwise, I think the last one he's like,
just make it look
the
cool.
second one he's like, don't change anything about this one. The other ones, he was just like, oh yeah, just, you know, kind of reframe it. Or
After you went through the iPad Procreate
yeah,
version?
making the mock-ups for him.
Okay, so you showed him the mock-up,
Yeah.
and he didn't slaughter you?
No, not at all.
That's
If anything, he was way more stuck. It was like complete night and day reaction from the first meal at the first
What the fuck is
location.
this? I can do this shit. And so you don't want to get that ever.
No, I didn't.
Well, that's sweet. Then it gives you the confidence. So now you got the mock-up. Now tell us how it goes from the mock-up. Was there more versions before you're like, all right, I'm ready to... When's the drywall done? Because I'm ready to paint.
There really wasn't that much of a waiting period or that many steps other than just waiting for the drywall and the original like color or whatever color they were painting.
Yeah.
No, they painted each wall a different color.
Oh, okay.
All the walls in that restaurant are it's pretty colorful.
Did you incorporate the color into your palette? So like leave sections.
Yeah, they general kind of tan beiges like neutrals, or some of them like really punchy colors?
The tallest one is this really dark charcoal.
Okay.
Almost like a midnight blue, but definitely more gray.
So did you let it come out, or did you just cover the whole thing?
No, the rest of it's I didn't need to because it's very dark. So like if I had let too much of that through, I feel like it would have subdued. And he wanted something that was like bright. Yeah, okay. The color palette that he gave me was it's something very reminiscent if you ever spent time in in Mexico.
Mexico City.
Yeah, it's like natural, like terracotta, like an amber ochre color, and then
so white
this like
flares.
aqua green, then like a brick red.
Makes you want to dance.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Did you when you were in that fledgling state before you started actually painting, did you already consider the lighting source? Are you going to be like, dude, well, it's not going to help me to do a 90-foot mural without any lights on it?
90 is a little exaggerated, but yeah.
19, how was it?
Like 18, yeah.
Oh, okay.
How tall do you think this building is?
16.
Yeah.
He's thinking about your next job already.
See, I'm selling it.
Oh,
Yeah. Cheers to the next one.
Nice.
Open some more restaurants, homie.
Hopefully, too.
Yeah.
I got a few other...
Some hits.
Potentials, that I'm talking to people about.
Cool. Well, after they see this pod, dude, you might blow up.
Cheers to that.
Because you're obviously going to need some assistance. So
Yeah,
you need some extra hands on
we
deck.
drive the scissor lift for you.
Sorry, what was the question?
Did you automatically think about the lighting? Because sometimes you're so fixated on the composition and the colors and the execution and the overwhelmingness, running the scissor lift and all that stuff. You might be like, oh yeah, fuck the light.
Yeah, it was a thought. Unfortunately, when I first started there, I don't think they had like any of the things installed. I think they had
power.
They chose it. I think when I first started there, it wasn't like.
Did you have like those construction lights?
Yeah,
because you were doing this
I
at night when the normal crews were gone, right?
Luckily, on the weekends, they were gone most of the time, and they would leave by mid-afternoon. But I
can't work in these conditions.
I know I can do it. Yeah, I'm fine. I had at least 4 of the silver can lights that I would have to. They had this beam that kind of ran halfway up to the ceiling lights or the skylights in front of that one. So I'd have to get up on the scissor lift and just run an extension cord and kind of wrap it around and try to find a way to
do what you
snap these things on. Yeah, and it worked out. And then I also always had an extension cord attached to the scissor lift. Shit ton of slack.
Okay.
But yeah, they would always just be right with me.
OSHA loves that shit. That's great. That's cool.
I'm glad OSHA was not around for that.
Allegedly, yeah.
That must have been a sweet environment. It's weekend. The whole, Wilshire Boulevard is crashing in its confluence of humanity outside, and you're the only inhabitant of this big empty space. Your footsteps are echoing and stuff. And you get to be in there and work in that kind of environment. Mm-hmm. It's crazy busy energy outside, and then you're in a sanctuary of sorts.
It's just you and the art gods.
Yeah, actually, that area is dead.
Really?
There's absolutely nothing going on. So yeah, it was like that inside and also kind of outside as well.
Okay, I'm surprised.
Did you lock the door behind you?
The front door was always locked, the one that actually went on to Wilshire. The back one goes out, there's like a luxury apartment building behind it, so I don't really have to worry about that. But I started in the summer, so it was pretty damn hot most of the time.
A little toasty.
So I always bring my fan and then just bump music all night.
Blood, sweat, and tears. All right, so you're on, you go from the mock-up, you get the green light, they get done with the midnight blue wall, and you're like, all right, I gotta rent this scissor lift.
They had it there.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, they had everything there because for the construction. So yeah, I would set up my iPad and.
So what was your method of expanding it to the side from the drawing to the size of the wall?
I used a projector.
Okay.
I bought one years ago. It's nothing great, but over the mock-ups, I just traced over them in black and white, and then
It's big sections.
Yeah, exactly. I had to keep moving it around. And I think I just used like a white Posca marker, like a fatty, and then just kind of traced everything. And after that, took a white can of Montana or whatever.
Light it
and
up.
just, did everything. I think there was actually at one point when I finished all the white outlines, the head designer, I think my brother-in-law showed it to her, and she's like, do you think we should just have him leave it there?
Oh, yeah.
It did look
like
good.
it's
No, it did look good.
No.
But he's like, no.
Hey, that's a
and-
compliment to your shape language, though, right? Like, its own way.
I didn't take it for anything less. But I'm glad they didn't actually ask me to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So, did you ever have a vulnerable moment right before you start where, like, it's exciting, but there's also, like, this is happening. It's too late. You already burnt the ships. Like, you're going in.
No, I think I was overladen with stoke for this one. I was just like,
sweet.
I was ready to hit it.
I like it. I remember talking to you because you hadn't started yet the first time you told me about this.
Yeah.
You were, like, geared up then.
Yeah, it was taking a little bit for like to actually like get started. Shout out to LADPW or DWP for being a shitty, very inefficient organization in terms of permitting. I'm making a joke. Yeah, the inspectors
Yeah, heard.
dragged this shit out so much longer than it needed to be.
That's cool, man. So, like, also one more note I'd like to know is because you pretty much walked us through the whole process except for the end, because I'm pretty sure also you couldn't be there for the opening. But have you been since then? But before that, when you were working, what's your go-to music-wise when you're on the scissor lift bumping it?
I'm much like with like food or anything else. It's just completely mood based.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll play some just like deep dark wubs, and sometimes I'm playing folk music or like new jazz or kind of anything and everything in between. I'm also a very big consumer of podcasts. So
Nice. Well, since you sometimes are listening, thinking, but the whole time you're working, it's kind of neat to see the variety of what you intake while you're outputting this one big vision.
yeah, it kind of helps keep me focused because otherwise, there's a perpetual dialogue that's always happening in my head anyway.
Double check.
Yeah.
So now take us to the end when they're going to have the grand opening and you want to unveil it, or that, I guess, wasn't the unveiling for you because I don't think you were there.
I was not there and I still haven't been back yet.
Well, maybe at least when you showed him.
Chill reservations at Descanso for 3 or 4. Sorry.
Yeah, whenever you guys want to go, like the food is amazing, and
We're going.
They do have live music a lot of the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Wilshire's not so dead anymore.
write that down.
Yeah.
So, but at least were you there when the designer and your brother-in-law saw the final? Like, I think I'm done.
I don't.
I need to check though.
I don't know if I ever met the designer actually. If I did, it was not. I'm not sure if it was made obvious, but my brother-in-law, he would be there. I would see him like every other weekend or so. I was there pretty much sometimes Friday nights as soon as I would get off work. make the 2-hour drive.
Oh, brutal.
I would stay there overnight sometimes. I would just like crash on the
scissor lift all the way up.
None of the
Like
scissor
fucking
lift.
Snoopy. That shit's baller.
The first time I ever slept there,
It's like
it was on accident. I think it was like a Saturday night, and I had to. It was like the painting part that was like 6 inches off the ground, so I just put some cardboard down, and I'm so tired.
Yes.
I'd been there all day already, and then I think I was painting, and then I'm like, oh, my back. And I just need to lay flat for a second, and I lay down, and then I woke up like 4 hours later on the concrete.
There's no other better way to wake up right there. In an art site. So also too, for our audience, those of you who aren't artists or haven't got to see an artist accomplish something this size, like there's a reason why it's called like artwork. Like if you not only work going up and down ladders or hauling the paint buckets, but you're also thinking critically the entire time. A lot of times, like you could be in the flow state or the zone or whatever you want to call it, but your mind is working overtime. So you're burning through calories, and a lot of artists aren't running out to get something to eat. You just like, I need to get this done. You're usually chasing the next check or meet some impossible deadline.
Even if you're not, you're so into the work, into the zone. It's like next thing you know, it's 10 p.m.
Might as well keep going, or pass the hell out and wake up at 4 in the morning or 4 hours later, which is a good. I used to do that sometimes. But the sleep is so good because you really earned it, and especially if you're happy with the work, you like. It's very very pleasant. Like I had some of the best ones, like unlevel in my van. Like the painting I just sold recently was at the Belasco. I did it was a live painting deal, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. And by the time you drag all your stuff out, and I painted the whole time, and I finished the piece. And like in the back of my van, I'm like, I was so stoked. First of all, when you get there, you're like, dude, this parking is gonna be crucial later. Free parking spot, downtown LA. Where you're like, I'm not going to get robbed, or if I do, they probably robbed the wrong guy, but they'll probably rob somebody else first. But it's not in the parking garage, it's not $20 an hour.
Yeah.
But then, like, at the end of the night, all the artists are all loading, and you're like usually overworked, underpaid. You just made a killer piece, hopefully, but it's no guarantee it's ever going to sell. That was 7 years ago, and I just sold it. But I remember sleeping that night because I was like, I had no plans. I really shouldn't have drove anyway. I was not exactly sober. But I remember like snuggling up with the, just enough room in my bed in my van with the big ass wet, the painting, but just being so happy and like never be more happy to sleep for like 4 shitty hours on uneven surface in the back of the white van. Sometimes but just wake up happy. I hear horns honking, and like you're still accomplished. So you wake up, you're like, I needed that rest.
Yeah, sometimes that'll do.
So audiences out there, if you hire artists to do big commission works, or just know like sometimes we're really
make sure you give
really
parking
earning
as part of the contract.
Yeah, parking and maybe a pillow.
Or like
just don't
or something.
Yeah, don't call the cops. Yeah, Just be like, oh, he's probably an artist. He probably just worked. Just let him be. Well, that's cool, man. So you pulled it off. That was your thing. So that's your most recent accomplishment as far as artwork goes. Going into summer. Or did you, I mean...
That was from, I think, around late April or May until November is when I finished it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because November, actually, I was there even on work days. So, like, I would do a full work day and then bust ass all the way up to Mid-Wilshire.
And you're working mostly in South County.
Right? Oh, yeah. I work at the far end of South County, like San Juan Capistrano.
It's basically like driving from Mexico to Canada.
Pretty much.
The traffic is terrible. It always sucks. Yeah. And you might as well stay tonight because you're not coming back.
Well, and those nights, like, I had to come back for work the next day, so I'd be there until sometimes 2 or 3 in the morning, and then sleep for like 3 or 4 hours, and then get up and do it again.
Sounds like the next couple meals at the restaurant are on them. You know the chef. Like, I know the artist.
I've never pulled that card, but I'm pretty sure it would be fine.
I'm like, I know Daniel.
Oh yeah, if you guys want to go for it, I'll vouch for you.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. Well, take us back to like how Eric was. We were going over this in pre-production. I was trying to describe to Jill and Michelle actually before you even got here. How, because they're like, well, I don't know who Daniel is. And then I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure he's one of the more OG 1980 heads.
I've known you longer than I've known most people that I still hang out with.
Yeah, so that's like, I don't know what year that is, or
2013.
was that Kearns, or like, I don't know what that
It was Noise Revolt.
Noise Revolt. Okay.
Yeah, you were at like the first one, right?
Yeah, Detroit.
Yeah,
it's my
August 2013.
It's my first live painting at a place where people were like not paying me to paint, but I was one of the live artists. I was like, what's live art?
Yeah.
I'm like, isn't it always live when I'm doing it? But so that was it. Noise Revolt.
That's when I met you. Yeah.
Shout out to old school Detroit
Nice.
bars.
Hell yeah.
But did you know Kearns, or you knew the Noise Revolt guy?
No, I think I met Kearns after you actually.
Oh, okay. I thought
But that party came around that we had here later that year. I think that was December that year.
Okay, that might have been his birthday or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which
was that the Harem? He said a couple of, he said 2 birthday parties here, I think.
Yeah. The first one, that was the...
Naked Sushi?
No, that was at the Noise Revolt warehouse.
No, that was here.
Oh, you did one here too. That one was like, everybody was dressed like gangsters, or I know it's a faux pas. Gangsters or gypsies, I think was the theme.
Shout out to Naked Sushi.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a wild party.
All right, so we met at Noise Revolt, and then I think I might have already known J Moon and Jester and them by then because of Kearns. They had did a party here before. That's how I met them. Got it. Yeah, that's how I got invited.
From like ITS, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and what was ITS?
That was like their.
And who was that kid? There was one more guy. Jared? Yeah, from Long Beach?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Okay,
they all lived in like the same house. So.
Oh, yeah, okay.
JK.
I couldn't put it all together, right?
Yeah, shout out JK.
Nice.
R.I.P.
Cool, homie. Man. That's a shit.
That's how you met 1980, and then how does the second meeting come?
That's how I met
What
Jesse.
kept you coming back?
That's how I met Jesse, at least at Noise Revolt. That was the year that I started live painting anywhere.
Okay.
Also, I think my first one was for this now no longer available.
Defunct.
Yeah, it was called New Soul Magazine. I don't know how I got hooked up with these guys. I think I just like hit up the guy who owned it. I think he passed away, unfortunately, now.
Damn.
But he was like the first one who gave me a chance, and it was based around like like new soul music.
Sweet.
It was kind of adjacent to like the that early 2010s like LA beat scene. So I was already going to what was it called? The Airliner Low End Theory.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I was at those events like every month, and then.
Did you paint some at Noise Revolts too?
I'm sorry?
Did you paint some at the Noise Revolts?
I painted at almost every Noise Revolt I went to. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so then
that's how I got started.
Where I was grown up.
Yeah.
Actually, I did like at least 2 years in a row or something wild like that.
Yeah.
So we were part of the crew. Like, hey,
yeah.
It's like punching a clock, but at a badass party.
I think I did it for like 4 years, and then I'm like, I kind of need to just like go back in my shell a little bit.
And for those of you that been following us, but there's all these layers. Noise Revolt is friends of ours that throw these killer underground parties, and they went through like a fledgling state where I don't even sure if it was not going to be a record label, but it was a party, but it was an art show, but it was always...
It's a big warehouse scene. They got art going on as well as DJs, dance party.
Yeah, I mean, everybody came to dress to impress, killer beats and music. It was always fun. It was a good time.
Yeah.
But and then they did it years and years and years, and I don't know if it morphed into something else. I know there was...
Well, I remember when they had to shut down the warehouse because that was it like a clandestine newscast.
Shit!
I think it was after the ghost ship thing happened up in Oakland. Like a lot of these news organizations were like infiltrating underground warehouses.
Bunch of bitches.
They got put on like late night news. I think.
Damn.
Yeah. So,
I'm Kermit the Frog.
I think
bunch of fucking clowns.
Came to the point where they had just like shut it down just to, like before shit really hit the fan.
So like
quick name change and then the best publicity ever.
Yeah,
Momentum's still going strong.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Shout out to Justin and all the homies. So Ghost Ship, if you guys didn't know, I forgot the year, but it was in Oakland, and there was a warehouse, and I guess it was like shabbily built, and the staircase was like built out of wood pallets, and it was like no no fire escapes. Anyway, the right amount of, I don't know, I'm going to say this, rich white kids perished that night to the point where overnight, every county in all of California, all of a sudden, the first, second, and third priority was shutting down every art warehouse from San Diego County to Marin County.
Yeah.
I mean, people were calling, it was wild. And it was just like party goers, but it was like something must have been more important about that, because it's not the first time some wild shit happened at a warehouse party. And not just in California.
But I think maybe the concern had been growing over some years, and
there was a fire, and it was one of those things.
Because like the rave scene, and it was like the amount of people, or whatever it was. Yeah. It was a certain circumstances. I don't want to dwell on race, but I just know that like there was some kind of crossover between like it wasn't an underground thing. You know, people passed away and stuff, but then like usually that would have been contained at least locally in Oakland and San Francisco,
like within the community.
But it went. Boom! I mean, people were calling me from Missouri, like, "Hey, are you all right?" I'm like, "That's 500 miles away," but yeah. But then they're like, "But are you all right?" I'm like, "I didn't realize."
Are your fire extinguishers up to date?
You get these knocks on the door from the fire commissioner, like, "I didn't even know you knew we were here," you know. Mm-hmm. And that had a lot of
ripple.
Yeah.
The ripple effects were pretty strong. Our game was always pretty tight, so like we weren't too worried about any of that. But I also felt bad, and like I hate how like it had to be underground and like done, you know, like it didn't have to end that way for a lot of people. Like fires can happen and stuff like that. But like if you're in any kind of scene, I've been underground before, where you're trying to get away with whatever, or you're trying to like just make it cool and everybody have fun. You still like ultimately, if you're one hosting, you got to be responsible enough to where like you got to have a backup plan, or at least a fire extinguisher or something. I mean,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it still sucks that it happened. But
and then a lot of people got rolled that didn't fuck up that bad, but like they didn't meet this or didn't meet this criteria.
That's when everything started getting way more like strict and
right.
Like, you know.
And then at the same time, it's weird because like the artists who are trying to make it or have a legitimate art scene that aren't messing up, you pay the penalty because that councilwoman or whatever, somebody's got to have a bone to pick and something to stand on. We shut them down. This is not going to happen in my zone.
Yeah, and if they don't do it, then they got hell to pay because
I guess so. Yeah, or like we haven't paid attention to the artist at all until now. Let's just go ahead and roll them up because it happened in Santa Ana. Yeah, it happened in Santa Ana. Happened in Costa Mesa. It's like,
the Santora building.
Yeah, man. It's just like, dude. Like, but anyway, I don't know. I hate to go on that rant, but like,
no, it's okay. It's part of art history.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's good to see our homies like morph into something new.
Yeah,
and then like you said, like so you painted live for years at the Noise Revolts. Now, while you were doing that, did you venture more formally into something art-wise, or were you always side hustle, or did you? Because a lot of times you're trying to like sell painting, or you know.
Actually, right around the time, I think it was maybe a month after I met you, is when I found an ad on Craigslist for a dude looking for a shoe artist.
Nice.
It ended up being Blake Barish at B Street down the road.
Shout out to Balake Studio. Holla.
Yeah, and I worked there for the better part of 10 years.
Nice. So 10 years, and that's at the studio. Tell them formally what they do, because it's like pretty well known now. Like if you guys seen, I'll let you answer that. But the most recent example I've seen, it like knowing that he does that, but then seeing it on a grander scale is like watching the Super Bowl party we had here, and you see the cleats on some of the NFL athletes, and they have the cleats for the cause, so they do that as amongst other things.
Yeah, I remember doing that for a few years when I was still there.
So they paint shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Sneakers,
any kind of shoes. Like we started in his spare bedroom when he was still living, or when he was when he first started it down on the peninsula. It was just I think he had a roommate move out, and then it's like making this before it was the studio.
And these are like one-offs that you guys are designing, or like
he had. I think it was running on Etsy at the time, so it was a smaller, more succinct variety of designs and stuff, and mostly on bands and Converse and Toms.
Like
and
one
then,
of the canvas shoes.
Yeah. And then once we moved to where it is now, behind the Michaels, it just kind of just naturally blossomed, and then a lot of companies started hitting him up, and I think we did some stuff with Tom's, who would do like events at like malls and stuff, and then eventually we went on like a 4-city tour with HBO. I think they're promoting, I forget the show name. It was something about roller skates.
Okay.
But we went to roller rinks in...
Oh, is it United Skates? They made a documentary about roller skate.
I don't think I ever watched it.
The modern culture. Anyhow.
But yeah,
You're on it.
Yeah, we went to...
I don't like to watch myself on screen.
I think we went to Houston.
Just like Adam Driver. It's all the way to the top.
Houston, Atlanta, Philly, and Brooklyn.
Damn.
Nice.
And we did an event there over the course of like a week or two. And then, it was pretty dope. We were painting on roller skates that time. So
Yeah.
like the first like 200 people that showed up would get a free pair. And like it was,
Sweet.
you get to pick from these 4 designs or whatever.
Yeah, and
just
I mean-
keep it rolling. But
We're going to keep it real.
Keep
too.
it rolling.
If you went from Houston to Atlanta, those are two of the biggest black cities, and
Yeah.
black people like roller skating. Like,
Oh, yeah.
The roller rinks were
It was
mostly black.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was the first time I had ever like been to like a roller rink like that.
It goes off, huh?
It was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, just because they're so good, dude. Like just
Right?
watching the show, it was so distracting.
It's like you think you know what roller skating is, and then you see somebody get down. You're like, yo.
It's so
Drift
steez.
and
Yeah,
stuff. It's nuts.
it was super cool.
Plus the style was like, I can see how that would fit, because like there's nothing unthought of in those fits, like from top to bottom.
Mm.
And they have the unlaced skate. Like, how are you even not falling out of your skates? Because they're like, I don't know if they lace them up tight at the toe or what, but then they look like they could slip
Like
on or off.
bursting at the top.
Yeah, but they're doing this. Wow, I don't know. It's pretty dope. We got Skate Life on Instagram. Shout out to Skate Life. So
yeah,
that must have been a hell of a tour.
that was cool. Yeah, I'd never been to any of those cities before.
When you guys like brushing, airbrushing, you just have a
it
booth
was
set up?
almost all. Yeah, it was like we had maybe 2 or 3 of these tables like set up, and we brought all the airbrushes
So
and
you're just
everything.
trying to hammer as many as you can. or
Yeah.
freestyle stuff, so whatever stencils.
No, we had like pre-made stencils out of like acrylic, and just choose what design you want. We're gonna airbrush it.
Oh, okay.
It was in the middle of the summer on the East Coast mostly, so it was super humid. So
Yeah,
hot
there-
land.
Especially out there.
the paint had a hard ass time drying.
Yeah, you can't put it in the oven or nothing.
No.
Hair dryer, yeah.
There's-
Like, it's already hot enough. Let me start up a fucking oven.
Yeah.
Or a hair dryer.
There was another event we did in Orlando. It wasn't related, but I remember we were up in one hotel room with like 40 or 50 pairs of unfinished ones that we were like, oh, come back tomorrow. And it was so humid. Like, we're blasting the AC. We couldn't open the
gas
windows.
mask.
Like this.
And the paint was just like not doing anything. So we're just like stacks of shoes all around us.
Did you make the deadline?
Yeah, but we were up until almost sunrise. So yeah.
Huh.
But it was cool. It was some fun times there.
Struggle's real. So 10 years at the studio.
Yeah.
And then, like, what about your own work? Like, when you're not doing commissions and you just have, like, a vein or a motif, have you obviously experienced some growth technically, and then, but conceptually, like, what are you working on throughout that period, and, like, what are you working on now? Like,
I would say, yeah, I guess I've always had my own pieces that I've been working on. Not
Are you
so
doing
much.
like mostly canvas painting, or what kind of stuff?
I actually like very rarely work on canvas. I'm always on wood because I like using so many different mediums. They're almost all like water based acrylic, but with like airbrush or something, or if I want to do a stencil, I'm always afraid of like, oh, if I do like try to cut something on over canvas, I'm like, I'm gonna just like shred this thing. So I just naturally gravitated towards wood, and I'm also an amateur woodworker, I guess.
okay.
When I can, so it was also fun to just like shape my stuff and like create frames for it. Gotten a little better at that, but I would say most of the work that I do on my own is highly influenced by, among other things, my ventures out into like nature.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but
Shout out to nature.
yeah, love of nature.
Yeah, bears and shit.
Well,
But also you went PCT.
I would say that opens us to a whole other topic worth discussion, which is your adventures on the PCT.
Yeah.
Which, the fact that you've done that, huge.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Do you mind pouring me a little bit?
Yeah.
Thank
This
you.
one?
Yeah, we'll try it out.
Smart.
Yeah, so I guess to preface that, like,
Nature is a common theme in your work.
in my life, yeah.
But then also, like, specific to the art, is that, like, because you're really good at representational stuff. You can draw, you can paint. You know,
Thank you.
But then, like, do you go whimsical? Like, describe your style, like a painting that our audience is not watching us and we're not posting this image while we're talking. Just give it to them raw, like.
Yeah, that's a
It's
hard
easier
question.
said.
I love it.
I would say it's. I don't go for like hyper realism or anything like that. I've never been super adept at like drawing the human figure like faithfully. So for better or for worse, like I kind of just like gravitated away from painting people, but rather
People are overrated. Anyway.
some of them are cool. Cheers, Lila.
Oh, cross it.
So, I mean, with that being said, like, you're not running away from someone. What are you running to? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I would say it's a mixture of like I guess why I'm having trouble is because it's a mixture of aesthetics that I kind of just happen to fuse depending on where I am in my technical abilities. Learning airbrush at B Street was one of the best things I ever did. Another thank you to Blake.
Example, is that with like tight lines or just the fades or
Gradients.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah? You can unlock a new subtlety in one color or
Yeah.
one shape.
Just make it look buttery.
Yeah,
yeah.
Really. Yeah, because
That's an extremely articulate and extremely hard medium.
Airbrush?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, and not to say that I'm like an expert or anything. Like I couldn't do the things that the airbrush artists at carnivals do on t-shirts.
it's like,
Yeah, that's
like,
they got the hand control
it's
down,
like
but
Tracy or whatever.
yeah. But when I'm just like hunkered down in my studio and I got an image in there, I'll spend 8 hours that just like flies by, just masking and cutting and airbrushing, just like going back and forth over.
So it would be like a multimedia, whatever it takes, but you're still describing the same language. You're telling some kind of nature influence.
Yeah, and it's not I'm not painting like landscapes that you would see at like whatever gallery in like Laguna Beach or
Like
something
up
like
is
that.
up, down is down, left is right.
Yeah,
That thing.
it's
more of a
it's very much like leaning into the surreal, if not outright like psychedelic realm.
dreamscape. Yeah, shout out to psychedelics. Something all three of us have in common.
Yeah, just kind of riding that wave perpetually.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, so it's kind of a meshing of those, like I'll kind of draw out like a basic landscape all the time, and fuse in both multi-dimensional kind of aesthetics, and also to the point where it's like some areas will look so flat, and then something else will just completely like pop off. I'm just talking so vaguely about it because it's so hard to describe
perfect.
it. But,
Well, you're telling a story, like your work does have a narrative.
Yeah.
It's something if someone just saw one of your more complicated pieces, or even if you didn't think it was that way, from like a art consumer standpoint, you can tell very quickly that it had a lot of hours into it. It's not like your work doesn't look like you could just snap your fingers and make it happen. There's like a storyline and there's things happening.
Yeah, yeah. There's one painting that always comes to mind is still one of my favorite pieces I ever did. I think I finished it in 2017. The impetus for it was I think I had just started this very basic like flat mountainscape. Kind of went across the whole piece. I just got stuck there for a while. But didn't really have any direction for that. And then me and Jess, Jamin, went on this. I think it was our first like backpacking trip out into the wilderness up in Idaho, and very humbling. Yeah, and like on the second day we get to the highest point, which is like basically the midpoint, and I've been dragging ass all day. We vastly overpacked, so I just have so much fucking weight.
Multiple pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you needed something to paint when you got up there.
And when we got to this very top and finally just like cresting, I could see like the lakes on the other side. I'm like, and then I just kind of stood there for a second and just like felt this like crazy like visceral rush that I finally understood. It was like, this is what a runner's high feels like, I guess.
Sure.
And then I'm just like, okay, let's keep going. And it was downhill from there, and I just felt like I was floating, like my legs just kind of disappeared, but I was, floating with a goofy ass grin on my face just as long as we went.
Awesome.
So once I came back down,
The image and stuff with you.
I started developing like the idea of like what this piece is supposed to be. Like I had kind of like preempted it, set the pace, and set the scenery to then have it receive like my experience, or at least what I interpreted as my experience on there. So
Nice.
I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's like the one with the big like cosmic circle in the middle, and the mountain starting to wrap around it. Basically, I always considered that a self-portrait.
Nice.
Nice.
The big cosmic thing was me, just kind of not being the mountains, but not being anything else. Just like this weird little celestial node.
Yeah, like all of it coalescing there.
Yeah, and
that day was fun.
yeah, and so when I came back, I think I just hit the ground running with that one, and
Nice.
So like right away, you got into it quick.
it made so much more sense when I got back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew what I was doing. Like, obviously, there's a lot of like play because it's very rare that I ever have like a really specific like place that I'm trying to get any painting to. It's
just a
really just
notion.
like referential to like wherever I am at any one point when I'm starting. Then like
You kind of find them as you do them to a
exactly.
degree.
So like day to day, it can change, and
I can relate. Like even at some of my plein air, and a lot of times I'm with artists that are capable of doing. They're pretty much painting, the sky, the mountains, the trees, and I am too. But then like I'll flex. If anything, if part of my style is psychedelic influence or just energetic influence, I would say, because it's not all about anything but feeling the flow when you're there.
Yeah.
But I'll do it like there. Whereas like in the critique, it's like, all right, one of you guys was on something. But it's not true. Like I could be dead sober, it wouldn't matter, but I'm still feeling what you felt. I just I've tried to capture it like real time or whatever when I'm working. But I understand your message to get that narrative across, because you're not really trying to like people have like walked up on me before or whatever, like, what are you even doing, or what are you painting, and it's like I'm so off in the distance that like there's no way I could explain it. But it's also like I know I'm competent. In fact, this is part of my style, but they just see like the beginning or whatever, and it's like, is it upside down, or like are you colorblind, or are you even blind, or can you see it all, like kind of stuff. But like it's fun to like knowing that it's gonna come together. It's just like it's not up to them to catch up or whatever. It's just like, dude, like it's happening. That's great, man.
that one, like I said, it ended up being one of my favorite paintings.
What's it called?
Mercurioso.
Nice.
It was. I think I was starting to dabble into like just mercurialism and like
Mercurialism.
and just like I've always had this.
Gonna ask Cypher about
That's why you liked that Hermes thing I put up the other day.
I was about to mention that.
Pray tell.
I can pull it up here. That's it. Yeah, keep talking. So there's not.
Sure.
You're mercurial as fuck, bro.
I've always like.
You could be.
Thank you.
That it would be the essence of.
That one ended up in like one of my. He was actually the first person that ever introduced me himself to me at the first Noise Revolt. You know, Matt Mirshafi.
Yeah, probably.
He's like
what's his nickname?
Matty.
Yeah.
Yeah, ended up in his house. I'm like, I'm so glad it's with you.
Yeah,
and,
it's neat when it's like somebody wants it even more than you. And I've said this a lot on some of these pods in real life or whatever. That I feel very strongly that the art I make, if I had any gift, it's definitely not for me. It's for someone else. Mm-hmm. It's for everybody else, but it's not like I got to make it. Yeah. I don't get to keep it. But it's neat when you do, like, if you make enough pieces, like, not everyone's a Mona Lisa or whatever, but when it's one of your favorite ones and it just so happens that one of your homies have it, and like, it's so fun. You walk in the house, like, oh yeah, like, yeah. Like, it's nice. It's because it's like your buddy liked it so much, he got it from you. But then also, too, you guys are still homies, so you get to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like, you know, well, not like I've ever done this, but it's like, you know, this was my child while it was mine, but like, as soon as I finished it, it's like, no, now this is like meant for somebody else, something else.
Sometimes the good ones go quick.
Yeah. That was that piece was, I feel like, the kind of the start of where I've started to develop, you know, my personal style or aesthetic from there.
Nice.
That one just like kind of made a lot of things click.
And what year was that?
2017 is when I finished it.
Nice.
I think I started it the year before.
That is a sweet spot when you kind of... So for our art audience out there, like one of the better compliments I've got from other artists that are accomplished is like when they say, I know that piece is yours because that's your style. And however you happen upon that, when you at least even brush up against it, or you might take another year to really start being fluent in it. But then once you know, and then that style morphs with you as a person.
Yeah.
And it's very, it's like some kind of art level.
Yeah.
Really
so when
nice.
you discover that you know what you're doing, because a lot of times, because like a lot of times you do the work. As somebody who's obviously coming in, especially with the figurative stuff later to this game, and is like figuring it out, and there might be some skill in there that I don't even necessarily notice in the moment. And sometimes I'll look at a drawing a month later. You slept on it, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, there's actually something cool going on there. But I kind of landed at it, more or less throwing darts at the board with my other hand, covering my eyes.
I feel like it should be.
Which is, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But then sooner or later, you realize, like, self-aware what it is that you did that's working, and you're like, oh, it's not just a thing I can do, like, I can control it.
Yeah,
I know how to use my powers.
And if
I'm certified competent.
But I was going to say, if I can make a distinction, though, it's not know what you're doing. That would be the competent part. It's like why and what you're trying to say. Not what you're trying to do. You're trying to paint. You're trying to draw. That's obvious, and you can do it well. At some point, that should be obvious too. But then it's like, what are you trying to say? Or did you do something so descriptive in your voice and style that the artwork says it all? You know, you give it a good title and let everybody have fun with it.
I think I did like a little
dance.
Always.
That would be dope.
I did like a little writing that kind of paired with it. Yeah, that's one of my
where's that?
Full-fledged.
Can you recite it right now?
No, it's
is it like a paragraph, or is it like 5 pages?
It's like a whole page, if not more so, in like a small notebook.
Nice.
It sounds like a freestyle, dude.
Yeah, we'll have to feature that. We can do like a one-off.
We'll come back.
Shot of that.
Like a lot of our guests. Daniel's
feature.
a good friend, and I were to, if I could venture, I would say there's a good chance we'll be back on.
I'm down.
Well, yeah, we haven't even talked about what a wordsmith is. That's a whole other category.
Or how much Camille is a fan.
Camille's a fan of wordsmiths?
No, absolutely not. She doesn't have the
particular flavor.
What's the discerning taste for Daniel's style. It's just, it's a refined. It's like ordering the uni in the sushi restaurant. Like, that's you're the uni. You know, and
Yeah.
she's not there yet. She's still getting the Toro.
I love it.
You know, love her, but
That's great.
different taste. Well, we can take us into the halftime with this thing from the Mercury.
And when we come back from halftime, we're going to have a whole new segment that our homie Cypher set us up with.
Right on. Shout out Cypher.
Yeah, big Cypher.
Let's see, I thought I had pulled the one up, but I have so many pictures of shit that was in a book. It was a different one.
That's son of a broad.
You're just
That's
way
a
too
broad
mercurial.
statement.
Yeah, well, look at
Pictures?
you. You're right on the top of my my replies here. Oh, man, you sent me
This
so
is
many-
great for
Sorry,
a
I
non-viewing audience.
overloaded you.
Eric is currently scrolling through his phone.
Yeah,
and
I gotta
all this
scroll
stuff
through
in a book.
15 different
All the shit that I've sent him over the past few years.
posts. Man, where can I even find this?
Can you
book?
airdrop that scroll to me?
We might want to do that as a return from.
Well, when we come back from the
from
break, we're going
halftime.
to try the new segment, and I'll make sure you're queued up so we don't bore our audience to death.
It's all I'm really subconsciously doing here is the techniques to make sure that they watch the YouTube version of this.
Smart. Welcome back to the Location 1980 Art Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Fortune, with my co-host, Eric Ringman,
Good evening again, everybody.
and our special guest.
Daniel Felchner.
Salutations.
Thanks for sticking with us. We're about to introduce a new segment called The Artist Beef, brought to you by our big homie, Syph. Thanks, Syph. Shout out. So it's the Artist Beef. So we're going to call this the Salvador Dali versus Andre Breton, I guess, the Surrealist Civil War. So in the 1920s and 30s, Surrealism was the hottest avant-garde movement led by Andre Breton. I'm going to tear the name up, I guess.
I think it's Breton.
Breton. I don't know. He's probably European.
Just American it.
Yeah. Andre Breton, the self-proclaimed Pope of Surrealism. He wrote the Surrealist Manifesto, controlled the movement like a dictator, and had no patience for sellouts or political dissent.
Sounds like a humble guy.
Then you had Salvador Dali, the wild Spanish painter with his melting clocks and flamboyant mustache. He was the golden boy of Surrealism until he wasn't.
The beef. Breton and Dali clashed over politics and money. One, politics versus communism versus Dali's fascist leanings. I didn't know that. Makes me like a Dali less. Breton and most surrealists were hardcore leftists. They supported Marxism, communism, and revolution. Dali, on the other hand, dude refused to pick side and even flirted with fascist imagery in his paintings. He once painted the Enigma of Hitler in 1939, which featured a distorted telephone dripping with paranoia.
Huh.
Breton and the Surrealists were like, bruh, are you a Nazi? 2. Money. Dali's commercial hustle. Breton wanted Surrealism to stay pure, anti-capitalist, and against the bourgeoisie. Dali? He was all about the bag. He did fashion collabs, designed jewelry, and even made ads. Breton was so salty that he nicknamed Dali Avida Dollars, an anagram of his name that means eager for dollars. Fallout?
Nice.
The fallout.
Dude, Dali was like, he would be slaying it on Instagram today. He knew what was up.
Be on Joe Rogan.
Oh, he would be Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan. In 1934, Dali was officially kicked out of the Surrealist movement after a mock trial where he trolled everyone with his absurd answers. His response, I am Surrealism.
Yes.
He went on to become one of the most famous
Sweet
and
dick.
wealthy artists ever, while Breton and the movement lost power over time. So who won? It was me or you?
I'll take it.
Put a fallout, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, Dali won in terms of money, fame, and legacy. He turned Surrealism into pop culture. I mean, I've seen Dali as like background plates in Looney Tunes. Like,
Yeah.
man won. Breton kept Surrealism, quote, pure, but let's be real, Dali's influence outlived him. So, was Dali a genius who saw the future of art, or a sellout who betrayed the movement? That's for y'all to debate.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, I mean, also you got to think about the acid, because him and Disney were wild as hell. Like they were tripping.
Dali?
Yeah, and so they just
They were like tripping before.
they were on
tripping,
some
though.
LSD though. No, like
But that didn't come around until what, 41?
I think they fucking partook.
39, and I think like purposely made in 43
Oh, okay.
by Hoffman,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
didn't leach out until the 50s.
Yeah, for sure.
Then the CIA got its hands.
Yeah, I don't know about all the Nazi stuff either.
though.
You know, it's
Like
weird.
Train candidate.
Oh no, I was saying more like Dumbo and like.
Oh yeah.
It's weird too, like to like support support the art. Like so, it's like the old cliche of can you separate the artist from the art? But then like it's kind of like what Kanye or something. And speaking of like Nazi stuff, like you're like, oh, like I love the college dropout, but this fool is wild as hell talking about like you can't be a capitalist black Nazi in America, or I guess you can't, or I don't know what all
In
these.
America, you can do anything.
It's
I don't know
the land
what
of
el-
opportunity.
I don't know what these categories are, but like if you like rewind history and you, like you said you weren't aware about that with Dali
Did not.
and
Yeah,
and
not
Disney,
at all.
they're rocking some questionable
Disney was also
party lines and shit or whatever. Like
Yeah.
you know, if history would have went a different way, like you never know. Like what's that show?
Man in the High Castle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my brother
so-
tried to get me to watch it. I couldn't watch it because I hate all the whoever wins the war gets to tell the history. Because then you're like, maybe it's not the best thing or whatever. Like
Well,
ask Native Americans about who won the war or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that was based on Philip K. Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of his novels. So
I love it. Yeah,
I love
mean,
that.
it's just like he went down the rabbit hole. It's like we're gonna
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
extrude. But anyway, like I don't know. I guess I never seen. We're gonna have to look up Breton's work or Andre's stuff.
Well, yeah, I was looking up a little bit during the halftime. Similar to Dali and a lot of their compositions.
Well, I like the mic
stuff.
drop though. Like I am surrealism.
Well, and that's the thing is he knew from the beginning how to market. Because like I grew up, Dali's one of those big names. Like even if you're not in the arts, like everybody knows Picasso, then they know Van Gogh, and they know Dali. Like
or at
for the
least,
most part,
or
right?
at least the clocks.
They at least know the clocks, for sure, persistence. And, like I say, even in Looney Tunes, like, you know Beethoven in the same way, even if you're not into classical, like, the greats were there. And, like, I associated him so much like, think surrealism, think Dali before any other name on the list by probably a mile. And I'll bet if we went on the street, 9 viewers out of 10 probably say the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was only later that I found out, like, that was very targeted and designed by him. Like, he knew how to be a guy who would not only take that title, but, like, help create an image of himself that other people would give him that title, too. He's running around with the pet ocelot and
Well,
stuff.
yeah, and he had the
like, he knows that doing that, and the
he had the
mustache,
mustache, and he also
doing that kind of shit
he
would help
leaned
his
into
image.
photography because like it's just coming out to where like you get a decent image of yourself, and like instead of running away from it, he's like, every time I do get a picture taken, it's gonna be wild as shit. Like he was his own publicist,
Oh, yeah.
so he went hard on that. But also too, like back to the question though, can you separate the artist from the art? Like I give him props for and I don't think maybe there was or wasn't, but like for everything I remember or am fond about his painting skills is the minuteness. Number one, a lot of that stuff is happening on a really small
Insane
scale
precision.
with a 1 brush or a 0.1 brush, and then also very psychedelic. And when I'm thinking about all those things, I don't think about like his brushing with the political parties or
Yeah, I feel like that fades over time.
yeah. Well, not only that,
It
like,
already has in
maybe if he was a contemporary, like then maybe I'd feel stronger about it. Like fuck that guy, or whatever. But like
Well,
I don't
exactly,
care.
but it was-
I don't care what he does.
80 years ago.
Right, exactly.
What's it going to be like in another 100?
Yeah, I don't know.
But the art will live on.
Yeah, well, especially since that kind of political turmoil was so much more like fresh and
Yeah, and they would lob stuff across borders then, because like just like Picasso, like just dipped out to Paris, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go be Parisian," and but like to avoid the war, Monet they did the same thing when they're like, "We're going to London, like you guys got beef. We're trying to go make art and be on boats and paint pretty pictures and shit."
yeah.
I'm gonna draft dodge your ass. But it was like right there. Like,
Yeah.
it's just over
Yeah,
there.
like closer than We Are to Catalina.
Right, exactly.
Because the English Channel is shorter than that.
And then, like you said, like all the years go past, and I love it too when we do art history here at 1980. Like we're starting a whole new movie night, and you watch some of this stuff, and they go on and on and on about what the artist was thinking, all of this stuff. I'm like, maybe a little bit, and maybe the historians have it, and maybe their interpretations are kind of on point, but also too, some of this has to be bullshit. Because you're thinking like, let me be.
But
so,
you don't know what
let me be
Van
so,
Gogh was thinking
Yeah.
300 years ago.
Like, let me be so vain as to like think about my work
350.
Absolutely.
when I'm dead and gone, and somebody says, "Oh, this era of location 1980, Fortune was on this wild ass shit, and he was a Nazi or whatever, some shit." I'm like,
And
no,
that's why
like,
you use so
rolling
much
on my grave. I'm like,
blue.
dude, really? Like, no, like, and Orange County doesn't have any black guys or whatever, like, let alone half black guys. What was he thinking? You know, but they can revisionist history that shit and talking about your art, and they can just say whatever they want. I mean, but I don't know. So I am gonna separate the art and the artist, because the art is dope, and I didn't really know the dude, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bust his balls. He's dead.
I heard the
R.I.P.
piece is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he had more balls than other dude. Because if he's gonna do a mic drop, like, and see what the thing is, they did the faux court hearing. That wasn't his idea. He just showed up to it. Was like, are you gonna bust my balls?
Yeah, his reaction.
He's like,
was the one-
put me on blast. So he won the rap battle. Yeah, he won.
Yeah, I think so. Like, even if, regardless of like what we can like look at and agree or disagree with at this standpoint, it's like
Right.
doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, Dolly. All right, that's the new segment, Art Beef.
Love it.
Stay tuned the next time. So you're also trying to pull up some internet.
I am, and
Focus, focus.
we've managed to do it finally.
Give us the context again. What are we doing?
So this is as before we went into halftime, and Daniel was talking about the mercurial nature of your. But was it both combination of inspirations and also what you're putting out?
Just I guess it's just kind of me coming into myself and like understanding myself and
Learning to speak your language.
Yeah, like be more honest and just like I don't know what I'm doing half the time. Like I feel like I have to kind of maintain this.
The clarity is that it is vague.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm comfortable in that. And also because the painting that I was referring to earlier was titled Mercurio, so
You should like drop the mic and be like, "I am Mercurial."
I don't think you guys want me to drop that.
We're gonna get into it.
All right, so here we go.
Okay, cool.
So Hermes, known as Mercury by the Romans, is the god of the interior nervous system. His presence amounts to heavenly wit. When we are in Hermes' field, messages pass with fantastic speed between the brain and the fingertips, between the heart and the tear ducts, between the genitals and the eyes, between the part of us that suffers and the part of us that laughs. Hermes is Mercury, and we know that Mercury cannot be held in the hand. He rolls everywhere, separates into tiny drops, joins again, falls on the floor, rolls under the table, moves with amazing quickness. It is correctly called Quicksilver.
All right. Does that have anything to do with Kid Icarus?
Kid Icarus.
Yeah.
Oh, Kid Icarus? Wait, so Icarus or Kid Icarus? Is it
Kid Icarus, the game from the Nintendo platform.
Our producer is nodding as the other person here that knows what you're talking about.
Don't think it has anything to do with it.
So, thanks, Jill. Very well read. I don't know what to draw from that. Tell me what you think that means.
God damn it. I don't know that I could put it any more succinctly than he
Yeah, I mean, it's one little excerpt out of a couple pages that were kind of on the topic. And
Yeah,
one of the things I did like that the author said, like a paragraph or two before that, was, like real learning can only happen when Hermes is present, right? And he's got that kind of trickster energy, and every ancient tradition around the world has a trickster, like a Loki type character.
Loki, Coyote, whatever.
Coyote, exactly. And he said, when somebody says something like when your tongue works faster than the message, when your brain sends a message to your tongue, and in that split second the message gets changed. Like when you mean to say, you know, this is my wife, and you say this is my mother or something, and you say the name. It shouldn't be called a Freudian slip. It should be called a Hermesian precision.
That was the plan.
Because there's actually greater truth in that.
Ah, fair enough. I'm not sure where to go from there.
Especially with the Oedipal nature of calling your girlfriend your mom.
Well, that's one of Freud's classics.
No.
You know, I had to use that for the example.
Dropping Freud, I'm with it. So, Daniel, you told us a little bit about your most recent accomplishment and one of your favorite paintings that you've done, and described your style as mercurial. What do you have to look forward to going this year? Do you have any like real goals, like or I mean all goals are real, but like is there like a live painting gig, another commission? Are you painting at a festival?
Something that stands out.
Come over here and paint for a couple of hours. We'll kick it.
Well, I'm always
Hit
down.
the wall.
I'm always down for that.
We got a big ass wall out there, bro.
I'm actually very down. I got so much paint left over from the mural, so yeah, I'll bring some to share.
All right.
Basically, after finishing that mural, bringing a few friends to like come see it, like, you know, late night behind the scenes after we hit a show in LA or something like that. One of them specifically was mentioning that they're a dog groomer up in WeHo, and I think they had been talking with their boss about like they just had a big ass blank white wall behind their station, so
Okay,
but it's perfectly visible from the front windows, and yeah, they're like, I'm
Some
going
dogs.
to talk to my boss about this with you, because it's actually like translated really well from the styles that this most recent mural conveyed. They wanted like
But with dogs?
yeah, there's this old Mexican like folklore archetype that has to do with dogs, and something along the lines of like every person kind of has this
Dog, you know?
this dog like spirit that is more or less like the I hope I'm saying this right, the guide into the afterlife. There's a old like Nahuatl word for it. It's like the ancient like Mexican language, pre-Columbian. I don't know what it is, but yeah, that sounded really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Nice.
So doing that, and then
So it's a commercial gig with real cultural roots.
yeah,
Thick story to it.
yeah, and yeah, another potential one. No details on that, but other than that, I don't know if it's too early to share, but I'll say anyway, just because
He's gonna say it, folks.
I've had some history working with Mad Alchemy Liquid Light Show at Desert Days Festival in the past, and some other shows. Eric's spent a night or two in my garage with me, you know, just blasting the walls with oils and dyes and liquids.
Liquid light.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can you give us, for folks that
Are those
have no
freaking
clue what
sharks
this
with
is.
freaking lasers on their head?
No lasers with these ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, give us the brief overview.
Yeah. So if everybody, I imagine everybody can envision.
I too have been in a garage and witnessed
You
things.
have, yeah.
Trippy.
Yeah.
Wow, it's
Not,
it makes it big in there when you do it.
I don't know if you were there since I've started doing that.
I think I'm certain I've been there.
Maybe,
I don't know,
maybe,
let's see.
maybe. I could be forgetting, but I'm sure everybody can imagine the old overhead projectors from
Yeah.
elementary school.
No,
So
I know for sure.
I got 5 of those, and basically you
The
have
AV cart.
yeah. You have 2 glass clock plates, like the faces to them, like big, concave plates, and you get one that's larger and one that's smaller. You do a certain mixture of mineral oil and dyes or watercolors, whatever, and then you place a smaller one, similar shape, into it, and when they compress it, it doesn't smash it all to the side. Just gives enough pressure where it creates these mercurial, very patterns.
Yeah, like a very thin film
Yeah.
of those
Galileo.
various chemicals and colors over the whole surface.
Yeah. And it's forever morphing. It never stays in one thing. And even if you don't touch it for a while, it'll just continually just like slowly morph.
Shout out to science.
Brownie motion.
Yeah. And that's like, that technique has basically been the same since the 60s, like since it's
Bring it back.
impetus. Oh no, it's going
go.
It's going strong. The dude
When's Desert Days? Let's go.
I don't know if
Take
it's
it.
ever going to come back again. Me and Rishi were so bummed last year because we were going to go together.
Shout out to Rishi. We should just go to Corey's house.
Shout out to Rishi.
And just do our own.
Do our
Desert
own.
Days.
I'll bring all my
There you
shit
go.
out there. Like,
It'll be-
as long as we got something to blast it on.
We'll do a
like,
live pod.
Yeah. What's it? Corey said there's something out there called like just a rock or something. It's like
Giant rock.
Yeah. We'll just go there.
Yeah. We got to have power. So,
We get power.
Yeah, Jenny up there.
Yeah.
we-
Shout out to
yeah,
Jackery, dude. Yeah.
that'll do.
It's not sponsoring us yet, but I like their products.
Yeah. So like, I think it was October 2020. It was during COVID, but it was like just when things started letting up a little bit. Lance from Mad Alchemy, he wasn't able to do shows. They weren't doing any shows, so he put up on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to start doing like online lessons. Anybody who wants to learn this?" And signed up right away. And I think a couple days later, he gave me a call. He's like, "Hey, yeah, just wanted to talk to you. Where are you about? Where you
Nobody
live?"
else signed up, so
I know.
you're it.
Maybe I don't know.
The pandemic was weird. So
It was, yeah. But as soon as he learned that I was down in SoCal, he's like, "Hey, like in a few weeks, I'm actually going to be doing this film shoot for like a few bands out in Lancaster or Palmdale."
sounds
but-
far.
It was on this piece of land that has been used for a lot of film shoots, and it has these rock structures that look exactly like Joshua Tree.
Okay.
And they're going to be filming multiple bands sets there while doing these projections.
Sweet.
I'd never touched any of these. I'd never done it at all. And he was like, "Do you want to come help?" It's like, "I'm probably not going to let you touch the plates at all. But I need an extra hand,
Cool.
setting everything up." And
Sweet.
so I went there, drove a couple hours out there and showed up, and I'm just like, "Just tell me what to do." So I'm just running chords everywhere. And, he just saw that I was busting my ass, and eventually they kind of got into their groove when the shoot started and bands are playing. He's like, called me over, and he's like, "Hey, Dan, just take this on." He's giving me some guidance, so...
He let you touch it?
Yeah, I was helping out with like during the filming, and
Nice.
it was fucking rad.
Sweet.
I have some photos from that event, and it was so cool. And then he ended up giving me a projector, my first one, and a set of plates that I could just take home and practice with. And then the next year, he invited me to do Desert Days with him. It was a huge psych rock festival in Southern California. Was that Lake Paris? Yeah,
What year would it have been?
21.
Sounds far.
Oh, okay, yeah, it was Lake Paris.
Yeah, and I'd been to that festival,
Mid-pandemic.
I think, three times before then.
Late pandemic.
My favorite one was actually 2017 because that was the last year they allowed live painters there. So I was actually like live painting at that one.
And that was the one at the Institute, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that one was sick.
Institute of Mental Physics. It was dope, but
What kind of physics are there?
mental. But anyway,
physical.
yeah. To bring it back around, last Friday I went to a show down at the Coach House in San Juan, and I knew he was going to be there, so waited till the end of the show, talked to him for 4 minutes, and
So you hit him with it.
yeah,
Nice.
and yeah. Not to get ahead of myself, hopefully it works out, but I might be doing Austin Psych Fest.
Oh, sweet.
with
Austin,
him.
Texas, I presume.
That's the one.
Not Austin Powers.
Hell yeah, brother.
Alright, let's
you.
go.
Yeah.
We a little bit of both.
Yeah, you did it already, dude.
You gotta bring some of that James Bond energy into that.
I'll drive you.
Okay.
Yeah, into the liquid light.
I don't even know what that looks like, but I'll try to.
Neither do I, but I'm excited to see.
I'll summon that. Yeah, hopefully that actually works out. But either way, it was good to reconnect with him because
Been a while.
that kind of visual was something I always like was so enamored with. Like when I first started listening to that kind of style of music when I was like, young, like 11 or 12 or whatever. And I was like, what is that shit that they're doing behind?
Old hippie shit never dies, bro.
Yeah.
Liquid metal.
Quicksilver.
Yeah. All right. We're back to Hermes again.
And
let's go. So that's one of
The Hermanetta.
yeah, so I'm hoping that works out. They'll be in about a month, if so. And that's kind of the next venture.
That's as far as it gets.
I think so for now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Otherwise, my garage is under construction right now. The door broke, so I had to take everything apart and shove it back and wait for them to come replace the door. So my studio is currently out of commission, but I'm
You need a spare studio? Cruise over, dude.
I don't want to move all the shit.
No, don't move anything.
Thank you.
Just start buying the walls.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, we got a lot of
I'm bring
muraling
some
going to
paint,
happen
yeah.
right here.
That's great,
Waiting for that to happen, and I'm just super excited to hit the ground running.
Sweet.
I got a lot of built up energy. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
We've done this pod now almost 20 times.
Come up.
A lot of different artists. And you said you listened to a lot of pods, but you haven't been on one yet. How quick are you going to listen to this as soon as we publish it?
Well, as soon as it gets sent to me, probably.
No, it's pretty fun to hear it run back, and then it gets you on we missed that or we forgot something. Is there a shout out you'd like to give to a teacher or influential artist? You just mentioned one of them.
Yeah.
But that was recently. What about in the beginning when you're trying to get some competent skill? Somebody actually took you under the wing. It could be a high school teacher, could be graffiti crew, homie, or whatever, or a studio.
It's a good
Palake.
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't really have much formal training at any point. Everybody's got their elementary school art teacher. It's just be for a half hour every week or whatever. I don't remember her name. She was dope as fuck though. Hippie
Go out there and be somebody.
There are no mistakes in art.
Yeah,
she was always repeat that. So she was dope. My mom and my dad.
Nice.
Both.
Shout out to mom and dad.
Both are crafty and
they kept you going.
Yeah, they neither of them were did the same thing as I. Sorry.
Podcast rule.
Neither of them were, in it as much as I did, but they both had their solid, foundational.
They didn't discourage you.
No, not at all.
Some people are just art. What the?
Yeah, it's an uphill battle just from the home.
It's
I
straight
don't know
up.
if this one's going on the fridge, but maybe we'll put it in the
shredder.
closet. Yeah. No, it was never like that. I remember the one class I took in high school. It was a drawing class. I wish I remembered her name. But she was always super cool and critical in the best way. One, because I would always show up late.
Smart.
But two, because she acknowledged very early on, she's like, you shouldn't have gone for the intro one. You should have done something
a higher level.
higher, but
cooler than that, bro.
But at the same time, I think it she felt like she could be a little more free with her input with me.
Yeah,
which was good. I wish I remembered her name, but yeah.
We can fact check it. Big Scythe. Look that up. That's cool, man. And so, did you not go to college, art school, any kind of?
I went to IVC, Around Valley College, for I got my AA. I didn't do any art school, anything.
What was up with IVC?
I was just getting my AA. I'm
what? Did you go to a class? Computer.
The one
graphics.
or the one art based class I did was graphic design.
Which is kind of clutch because I imagine it's Photoshop 10 or something.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't know any of it anymore.
Me too, dude. I got a BFA and stuff I don't know.
There you go.
I was really good, and I don't have any idea what any of that is anymore. But it's kind of cool because at least it opens the. What it taught me was there's always going to be new stuff coming out. So like when I was in college, it was like in high school, college, no internet, no Photoshop, no Illustrator.
Yeah.
And then what it taught me being in a class like that, it's like, whatever you're teaching me, like there's a good chance it dawned on me really quick that whatever it is now could very easily be replaced. It used to take 20 years, and this is now completely moot. The program can do that in 5 minutes. We don't need to spend a whole half hour on drafting these perfect lines. It's like you press a button, open Apple, fucking, I'm out, undo. So what I learned, not specifically from the classes, or so like you took the one graphic design class, instead of the actual thing, I learned that you're going to need to keep learning, and that was the lesson that it keeps giving. Yeah. Because now when it's like some new comes out, you're not overwhelmed or miffed. You just kind of, at least I feel like I'm more on board with like, all right, there's something new. Not your get conditioned. Like, new shit, fuck it. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. I don't feel compelled also to like bow down, like, oh, you gotta have a TikTok account. It's like, no, I don't. No, I don't. You can also like be in control of the new stuff. Like, there's gonna be new stuff, but some of it is definitely dumb as fuck.
Yeah, I don't need to do everything.
Right, yeah. It's just like, nope.
Like, I thoroughly enjoy the things that I do and like the way that I do it, even if it's irrefutably the harder way.
Yeah.
But that's
chop wood, carry water.
Bro. Yeah, it's the fun part of it. Yeah.
Art, work. Boys and girls, art, work.
Yeah.
WORK.
Yeah, and when I graduated college, that was the year that I started live painting. So nice. It was.
That's a real school right there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Show up on time, ahead of time. You're not getting paid. Probably you get an AM1 to some party that maybe people are coming to. You don't know. It's in a weird part of town that you're sketched out. You don't know if your car is going to be safe. Did you bring a light, an extension cord, a wagon, canvas? Did you bring white paint? You forgot something. You got to bro up with the other artists, like, hey man, you got an extra light bulb. I remember after being well versed, like, to always bring extra stuff. Like, before I even went to Burning Man, like, you should be in a position to help out. Like, dude, I got a cart, bro. You're not gonna carry all that. Like, just do it together, and then when we leave, we can do it. And then, like, because we're already gonna be up too late and not paid. And
yeah.
But that's school. That's a real college. That's a real degree.
Yeah.
Live painting at festivals and random underground shows.
Yeah. Shout out to Laura De Rivero. She's not doing it anymore. I think she's doing other cool shit up in like Oregon. But she was the one who gave me my first opportunity to live paint at a festival out in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Sweet. What was the festival?
Firefly Gathering. I think not Firefly Festival, which is like out in like Delaware or something like that.
No, I was talking about the one that
not Fire Festival. Yeah, no.
I knew you had something to do with that. Where would I be without my baby? So not that one.
Not that one.
Right.
No.
This one was cool.
This one was dope.
Flagstaff's dope.
It was so cool. It was on a private ranch. I think it was called Soggy Bottom Ranch, and
nice.
It was maybe a few thousand people. They had 3 different stages, and it was in the middle of the biggest ponderosa pine forest in the world.
So fucking pretty.
And
there's probably a disc golf course there.
Probably. But yeah, I did that one that year, and I got to meet a bunch of artists that I still look up to today.
Nice.
Eric Seister, it goes by Vajra.
Say it again?
Vajra. Vajra. It's Sanskrit.
Check him out on Insta.
Yeah. And,
he sounds like a real hippie. You might not have an Insta.
He did.
Send him a letter and shit.
Matthew Kosika, Kent Baltutat. Actually, I met what was his name? Mike Lazarus.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I met him here before, but he was painting 1 or 2 of the years that I was there. I did 3 years there, and that's always been my favorite. And there's just the setting and also the sense of community that I just felt was maybe not lacking here, but I just never really fully connected on the way that I was able to out there.
You're from Orange County.
Born and raised, yeah.
So, like, have you traveled much specific to art? Because it seems like that wet your whistle for, like, when you get rewarded, it's not a coincidence if you travel far and it's hard and it costs a lot, and then you get there and it's epic, and then the other people who are also there are epic.
Yeah.
Then it opens a new door in your mind to the world. Do you have any aspirations to go like now further? Because now you can go multi-continent, like Europe.
I would love
Africa.
to. Let me know. Yeah, no, I haven't. I think that's probably the furthest I ever went specifically for art.
Flagstaff?
Yeah,
It's like around the corner.
Other than the, it's a 4 drive. You know, it's like.
Oh,
10
you drove?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna fly out there, and I gotta carry all my shit. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of shit.
Also, too, like people don't know, like flying on planes with art stuff doesn't really work. They'll take all of it. They're like, oh, your paint didn't show up. And you're like, now what?
I gotta go. Hopefully, there's a Michaels in Flagstaff.
Shout out to Michaels.
Yeah.
Or Home Depot, really.
Honestly,
Because if you-
I use a shit ton of like house paints on.
Yeah, I
on
mean,
a lot of
also
my
too,
stuff.
they always have a panel saw, so it's like
Yeah.
I'm like you, I like straight to birch, you know,
Yeah.
because it's durable. You can stack it, and it's not gonna be like, oh, I'm in the car, like just sleeping on me. Like you can sleep on a stack of paintings.
Yeah, I'll make it look pretty with a nice,
We'll touch it up.
nice custom frame
I like
afterwards.
that.
Yeah,
From Home Depot.
exactly. Yeah.
That's great.
Sponsored.
So, where would you go? Like right now, we just got a new artist. Shout out to Mancho. He's from Mexico City. Invited us all down to. I guess they have so Mexico City is right now the America's Mecca. The art scene is popping off, and like if you talk to 8 different artists in the know, somehow it's going to wind up back there. And then we just got lucky because he just came here. He's like, I'm from Mexico City. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, all right. It's between you and this other person that doesn't exist. But if you could get me and a group of artists from 1980 on a field trip to Mexico City, then you get the studio. And he's like, oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I'm like, all right. So, yeah, and you're in it. So next February we're going. So you get in on that.
Dude, that was literally going to be that was going to be the first city that I was going to say.
Nice.
I've been wanting to go to Mexico City.
Let's go.
Just generally, but also
Habla español.
see.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Uh,
We're gonna hammer it, dude. So Mancho's gonna set us up. We got to do at least one group mural when we're there. We're not gonna be tourists. We're gonna go work.
Ideally,
Artwork.
yeah.
For sure. All right, so we count that on the list. Where else would you go out there in the world?
I'd love to check out Berlin. You know, I know they got a big art scene out there.
Similarly, Europeans hot spot right now.
Yeah, has been for a long time.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool when it's like when I was there, I was awestruck at the multiculturalism. That it's one of the things that makes the art scene cool. Is like the government's down or they let the art happen.
Yeah,
but it's like who's doing it, and then you realize it's not like to say it's a Berlin artist. Like you don't just mean some Eastern German guy. It's like they're Jamaicans and all like Africans and whatever. Like there's so many other. It's a multicultural hotspot, and then no coincidence, it births like the happening scene, and not the bourgeoisie, the Sotheby's, dead artist,
right,
$60 million scene. The actual like, I want to go there and watch that guy work or check out his stuff.
for sure. Yeah,
Support living artists. All you art fans out there.
I think that was a joke thing, which I think was like the last thing I posted on my Instagram like years ago was something along the lines of invest in living artists.
All right, so
And
Berlin.
it's subtext. Please use me for your money laundering.
Yeah. Schemes and
Those two.
Let's start there, and then when we're there, we'll learn about some new stuff.
Yeah, I know there's there's art scenes in like anywhere you go. I guess I'm just not. Well, we'll get to them when we get to them, I guess.
Cool.
But Mexico City has always been one of the like top for me.
Next
for sure.
February, you want to get down with the team right now?
Yeah, I'm down.
On camera, internet.
Deal.
Eric's already in. And we'll do the pod that night. Wait, how do we do that?
I think we're
You guys got to cross too.
we're superseding what we accomplished on the Rishi one.
Oh,
We're one upping it now.
That was a lot
Get
of
on
us.
YouTube, everybody.
Yeah, I just saw a very awkward three-way handshake.
Yeah.
And it was a handshake, Jill. It wasn't anything like anything else.
Or it didn't mean as much to you as it did for me.
Now it meant so much more. So much more. I mean, we're already going on a trip to Mexico City. I'll see you that day, Mexico. Let's go. We're getting towards the end of the podcast. You're going to come back on, just like Corey and Rain
Down.
and a few other people that are going to keep coming on. But thanks for cruising in and sharing your story.
Thank you.
Want to do a little lightning round?
We could?
Do a little bit of that?
Yeah, impromptu.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't prep.
Well, we never do.
All right.
That's what makes, this is like rapid fire, like Coke or Pepsi, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Which that's the first question, by the way.
Yeah, agua con gas or sin gas.
Probably Coke, yeah.
Coke? Okay.
Agua.
But I'm fine with either.
And we already answered Breton and Dolly. Stones.
Did we do?
Well,
Did we really?
Yeah, well,
I answered for me.
you answered
I did press
that
the
you
button.
can separate the artist from the art. I think that was like the thing that we were asking.
The moral of the
I
story.
agree that you can and probably should.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of artists that I'm love their work and appreciate them for what they did, but they're often pieces of shit.
Or you may never meet them.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no context at all, but
Yeah.
that's cool. Keep
Yeah.
walking.
I don't need
Sweet.
to meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the painting,
Yeah.
that's all you never know. So Biggie or Pac?
What am I not saying?
Sorry.
Jill's producing.
I take them from both from what they are.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a either or. So
That's not necessarily either or. It's just like it's apples and
Yeah.
oranges. It's like
Yeah.
I like
Well,
them differently for
there's a good one: apples or oranges.
oh,
probably oranges. I'm much more of a citrus guy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
and impossible or like kickflip.
Oh, probably just the impossible. I think
Yeah,
I think
nice, yeah.
I like the
Like inside out action.
yeah.
Never could do either.
Oh, me neither.
Yeah,
No,
I have skater friends where I know the difference.
that-
Like damn, it's like
those-
ninjas.
Those
Like,
are the kids I grew up with. I was
Real life
I was
ninjas.
the fat kid like on the longboard. I was just hanging out with all the skater kids and yeah, I was having fun.
right
And
on.
like a lot of them went pro. Yeah.
Drifting or drag racing.
Never done either, but I feel like drifting would be pretty fun.
Yeah,
I don't know if my
Be more dope.
I don't know if my
I hear
road
you,
would do it too well, but
we could try it. Costa Mesa loves shit like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, our neighbors are pros.
It is true. I have
you
seen.
just drift around the
I've seen. I've
median
seen.
and the moon goat.
I've seen.
parking lot.
Yeah, I
I've seen
mean-
a figure eight.
It can happen at high noon, so we could definitely do it in the
I've
evening.
seen a
like this.
figure eight right in front of my eyes. Going, what am I even looking at?
You gotta
Broad
try-
ass daylight.
We gotta try to do it in your RV.
Oh, we could. It'd be real slow, but I could do it with style. People will respect the style. They'd be like, he's not going very fast, but that's a fucking cool ass van. And I don't know if I'm getting the van or not, but hopefully.
Or you
If not that, we'll get another one.
You're gonna
Either
get
way,
it back
we're gonna do some kind of
We're gonna have a 1980 drifting video.
yeah, and
For sure.
and a 1980 field trip van. It's
Right on.
super necessary. I don't know if we're gonna drive it all the way to Mexico City, but we could.
Just might.
It's a hike.
You might drive it back on cinder blocks.
We might fly back on a private jet.
That's all right.
We're just waiting for our billionaire benefactor.
That's true. That's been more in the cards than ever.
Yeah,
But
we've
that's a
been
whole
waiting
nother-
for a while.
That's a whole other
I
act.
figure it's a matter of time.
Shout out Billy O'Nair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Richie Rich. You know, I learned I saw Dr. Evil. Was it not Dr. Evil, Austin Powers? Who was the one from Inspector Gadget? Was he also Dr. Evil?
Mr. Claw.
Mr. Claw? Was he Dr. Claw?
I don't know.
They said that he was like, you didn't see his face the whole time. I watched every episode probably until like 6 years later. They made a promo for Inspector Gadget toys.
Okay.
And then it said the fan theory was that he was the OG Inspector Gadget and he got butthurt when he got replaced. I was like, that's fresh. Like,
The Model 1.0.
I'll get you, Gadget. That kind of shit. Yeah. Anyway, you got any... you mentioned your military drawings, so like G.I. Joe or Cobra.
Speaking from my standpoint, when I was actively engaged with him, Joe. Yeah.
Now you know, and knowing's half the battle.
I haven't revisited it in a long time, so like I don't know how to take it from the Cobra side.
Also, Cobra Commander, his voice versus Starscream from Transformers, which are very similar.
I don't know that I could differentiate at this point. Yeah.
That's the right answer. That's correct.
We're gonna need to dub in clips of those. One that I know, I'm versed more than like 90% of people in this, but you're versed more than I think 99% of people in this.
Ooh.
And this is not a either or; it's a or amongst many choices. Favorite Bond actor?
I would say probably Daniel Craig.
Nice.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hear that.
I think he took it to a more serious level. It was more believable, I guess. Connery is obviously the easy second.
Sure.
But you're watching two very different versions of the same character.
Yeah, he's very serious, but he's got the suaveness and he's got the classic Bond energy still.
Yeah,
in Craig, I dig that answer.
The alcoholic, womanizing, suave, and Daniel Craig. He was just the more believable kind of rogue agent. Yeah, both of them did what they did well, but I would say.
Also, shout out to Roger Moore and Dalton, I guess.
Oh, big time! Those are probably the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Don't forget, what's his name?
Pierce?
Pierce Bronson?
No.
Pierce Fire?
No,
Lazenby?
George Lazenby.
Okay.
Dalton nailed the serious Bonds pretty well. I thought people kind of dog on him, but I liked his performances.
I like him better as an adult. When I was young and consuming James Bond movies voraciously, I did not.
He's definitely more an adult Bond.
Yeah, I don't know if you've watched it. There's a documentary made on Lazenby.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
It's so good. He was such an interesting dude. He was a poor Australian mechanic who basically just faked his way into it. He had never acted a day in his life. He basically lied until he was in front of the biggest producers and directors of Bond, and they were looking for the next Bond after Connery, and he just finagles his way in, and he does it, and it was everybody was just like, holy shit,
enamored or just terrible?
Fantastic.
I don't even.
And they wanted him to sign on to do 6 or 7 more movies after that, and he's like, nah.
He's the one who only did one, right?
Yeah, he did
what's
one.
Fireball? What was it?
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah. But yeah, he's like, I don't like this lifestyle. It's this kind of sucks, and it's also really heartfelt because he was alive at least in the time that the documentary was made, which was very recently, so it's probably still alive. And I don't know, he's just a real ass dude. Nice. I respected him more after that. I haven't rewatched that movie because also really didn't like it when I first watched it. But
one of the best themes, though.
Speaking of real ass dudes, thanks for coming on the pod.
Hey man,
thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it with that. Thank everyone who's watching the Location 1980 Art Podcast. For myself, your host, Jesse Fortune, my co-host, Eric Ringman.
Thank you very much.
And our special guest,
Daniel Felchner. Thank you, guys.
We'll be on again. Thanks for supporting your local artists and all the artists around the world. We really appreciate it. Peace.
Right on.
Cut.